A UFO shuts down one of China's busiest airports, leaving thousands stranded with no answers. An officer investigates terrifying howls in the woods that sound nothing like any animal he's heard before, and at a boardwalk after dark, a ghostly figure is spotted sitting on a ride before vanishing into thin air. These are creepy internet videos that no one can explain. In 2010, one of the busiest airports in China actually had to shut down because of a UFO. It happened at Xiaoshan Airport in Hangzhou, where a flight crew spotted what they called a twinkling object in the sky while preparing to land. Oddly though, the thing wasn't showing up on radar. Air traffic control took it seriously enough though, that they grounded every flight and diverted planes to other cities. And for about an hour, the entire airport was at a standstill. Nearly 2,000 passengers were caught up in it. This was the first time an airport in China had ever been closed over something like this. That same night, people on the ground said that they saw something too. Some people described it as a glowing fireball moving across the horizon. Others snapped photos and video of a long, narrow object with bright lights running along its body. One man out walking with his wife said, "I felt a beam of light over my head. Looking up, I saw a streak of bright white light flying across the sky, so I picked up the camera and took the photo." Another witness, a bus driver named Yu, claimed an object suddenly darted west, like it was, quote, escaping from something. To this day, no official explanation has ever been given for what shut down the airport that night. Take a listen to this.
What the absolute fuck is it?
That just sends a shiver down my spine. Aside from Bigfoot sightings themselves, probably the creepiest part of the legend are the sounds. Bigfoot audio gives me a straight up chills. And this video may be one of my new favorites. The footage was apparently recorded by a cop in the Appalachians who was called to the scene to investigate those eerie howling noises coming from the forest. Upon arriving though, the guy just had no idea how to proceed, and I mean, fair enough. What are you really supposed to do in this situation? Get on your loudspeaker and tell whatever this thing is in the forest howling like Chewbacca to just shut up? I guess that would have been a start. Not sure how far you would have gotten though. Anyone in that area, if they can tell us what those sounds likely are, let us know, but I've never heard an animal howl like that before. This next clip was uploaded to TikTok by Jalen_Rich. She and her best friend were at the Santa Cruz Boardwalk late one night when they spotted something on a ride called the Double Shot. First of all, the ride was operating even though the park was very much closed, and it looked like there was a person sitting on the ride. But watching closely as the ride descends, the mysterious figure looks like it vanishes right before your eyes. Apparently, over the years, people have died at this park too, so some have speculated that this may be the spirit of some unfortunate soul who lost their life here. In Western Australia, a bunch of people have been reporting strange lights in the sky lately, and nobody can quite agree on what they are. One of the first sightings came from a father and son, Shane and Bradley Plain, while they were driving near the coast. Shane pointed out what he thought was a star and told his son, "See that star up there? It's not looking right." Bradley said the lights were shifting around, sometimes forming patterns. Reports of the same lights came from towns hundreds of miles apart, stretching deep inland. Matt Woods from the Perth Observatory said the spread of sightings was unusual, describing it as, quote, very confusing. He checked flight radar as well and found no planes in the sky at the time. His first thought was maybe there were experimental drones being tested. An official explanation did come forward. A local harbor master, Heathcliff Pimento, said it was probably just a trick of the atmosphere. Lights from ships out at sea can sometimes bend and appear to hover in the sky, but Woods isn't convinced, and neither are a bunch of other folks. You know, people spotting the same thing across such a wide area and like inland, like I said. Woods thinks it would have to be a very large refraction. In classic horror movie fashion, we have a little girl pointing to an empty corner of the basement, telling her grandma that there's a man standing there. Of course, and thankfully, of course, there's nobody actually there, at least not in the traditional sense, not in the physical realm. I'm kind of hoping I have a situation like this with my kid. That might sound crazy, but I don't know, I just get a thrill out of the possibility of ghosts and paranormal stuff like this. As creepy as it would be in the moment, I don't know, I'm kinda here for it. Grandma handles this very well though. She plays along, telling the invisible entity to go back wherever it came from before taking the girl's hand and going upstairs, telling her she's creeping her out. There's this woman online known only as Chip Chan, and for over a decade, she's been live streaming her life from inside her small apartment. She first popped up back in 2008 when people on 4chan were digging through random unsecured webcams. At first, people thought she was dead, but she wasn't. She was asleep, sometimes for more than 12 hours at a time, at random times of the day. As people dug deeper, they found her WordPress blog and then dozens of other sites that she runs. On them, she explains why she lives this way. She says she's been implanted with a mind control chip in her ankle and another one under her left eyebrow. She also claims she's being held hostage by a corrupt police officer that she calls P. According to her, the chip can make her pass out instantly, which is why she stays inside 90% of the time. Sometimes she uploads photos of unexplained rashes and injuries. She's been living like this since the 90s apparently, changing apartments but never the story. Some think it's performance art, others think she's mentally ill, and some actually just believe her. People have contacted police, even tried to track her down in real life, but none of it's ever cleared up what's really going on. So Chip Chan's bizarre internet presence continues to be a mystery. Next up, we have some more UAP footage for you. This one was shared to Reddit about a month back by Positive Song 2293. The footage was originally captured by a man named Jonathan Jimenez on June 28th, who filmed the night sky in complete bewilderment as the strange object moved from south to north. I had to put this on here because the shape of this thing immediately reminded me of the Imperial cruiser from Star Wars. It's got that triangular formation to it. What do you all think of this one though? Drone, military test, an alien ship? Share your thoughts down below. Here we see two guys out at night checking out this abandoned building in the middle of nowhere. The place is dark, falling apart, completely empty, or at least that's what they figured. While they're looking around, something suddenly pops up on the roof, scrambles across the roof, and perches on the edge, crouched down, staring at them. You can hear the panic in their voices before they finally take off running. If you pause the clip, the figure does look almost identical to the rake people talk about online. Long, skinny limbs, palish skin, no hair, and a pair of bright, glowing eyes. What you're looking at here is a seemingly normal piece of old interview footage, but the story behind it has become one of the eeriest internet mysteries. The video was first shared online in 2009 along with a very strange story. The uploader said he'd crashed at a friend's loft in a dead industrial part of town, the kind of place full of abandoned factories and empty streets. Around 4 a.m. he wakes up, can't sleep, and ends up staring out the window at the eerie silent city. That's when he spots a smashed computer and a monitor by a dumpster. On a whim, he decides to take it home. He hooks it up and surprisingly it works. The computer is almost totally empty, except for one strange file hidden deep in the system. An hour-long video of a woman sitting against a white background being interviewed. The audio is so awful though, you can't make out what she's saying. As the footage goes on, she starts getting visibly upset. By the end, she's crying. It looks like she mouths the word skin over and over, pulling at her own arm. Then it cuts to black. The uploader said it didn't end here though, that past the black screen, there's shaky footage of someone walking down train tracks, then into the woods along a trail. The man recognized the tracks from near his town and decided to investigate. He followed the trail into the forest where he came across an old abandoned house and shed. The shed was rusty, but inside he noticed scattered tools and a pile of old canvas tarps. After staring at the house from the trees, he finally worked up the courage to move closer. The front door was cracked open, and pushing it with a flashlight in hand, he stepped inside. The place was a complete mess. Dusty floors littered with broken bricks, chunks of wood, holes in the walls, but upstairs, he found a few chairs and a fold-up table that looked oddly new, like someone had been there fairly recently. The bathroom hit him the hardest. The mirror had been wiped clean, and in the tub was a plastic tarp with fresh water droplets glinting under his flashlight. Every instinct screamed at him at this point to leave, but he kept poking around, trying to see more. All of a sudden, though, the hair on the back of his neck stood up, as this loud guttural moan echoed from downstairs. Without thinking, he jumped from the second-story window and sprinted back down the trail, never to return. There's a strange little corner of YouTube that's haunted people for years, and it all goes back to a channel with just 2 uploads. In 2012, a student named Chad Logan posted a video called The Bitterroot. It's grainy 8mm footage of a rural landscape, trees, empty fields, that sort of thing. Then we see shots taken inside what looks like an old cottage or farm. And then we move into the woods. The camera follows an elderly woman deeper into the trees. She leads the camera person to a cloth sack lying on the ground. When the bag is opened, you can see what looks like human hair spilling out, and then, clear as day, a human head inside. The only other clip Chad posted is called Bitterroot Photos. In it, he holds up a series of old black and white pictures, all of them marked with the word Bitterroot on the back. He explains how he came across all this stuff. After moving into a new apartment in New York, he bought some cheap secondhand furniture off Craigslist. Along with the table, the seller threw in a bunch of random junk, including an old wooden box. Chad had to pry it open with a screwdriver, and inside he found the photos, plus a tin can with that reel of 8mm film that became the Bitterroot video. That was over a decade ago. The channel hasn't been updated since, and no one's ever figured out the 5 W's: the who, the what, the when, the where, and the why. With all that said though, I've been your host James, and I'll catch you, yes you specifically, next time.